joining us this evening via the YouTube live streaming link. My name is Councillor Karen Vincent. I'm Chairman of Broadland District Council. This extraordinary council meeting has been called to consider the recommendations from the Cabinet meeting on the 16th of June regarding the review of the 2020-21 budgets. And as this matter needs to be considered before the next scheduled council meeting in July, we are meeting to consider that item this evening. Before we proceed, councillors, I would appreciate it if you would work with me this evening to make it run as smoothly as at all possible. And I appreciate many of you are already seasoned Zoom users and users of remote meetings. However, I do appreciate that the etiquette can vary from one meeting to another, depending on the format and requirements of each meeting. So with that in mind, if you could just bear with me for a moment whilst I run through a quick reminder of the meeting etiquette for this evening's meeting. Firstly, as I've already mentioned, this meeting will be live streamed or is being live streamed. It's being recorded and will be available for viewing on YouTube. Please can you ensure that your microphone is muted when you're not speaking, and this will enable us to minimise background noise, as this can be distracting from the discussion and the business of the council. Our host this evening of the meeting is Leah Arthurton. Thank you, Leah. Leah is managing the live streaming for us this evening as well. In terms of muting and unmuting, councillors, you will be responsible for muting and unmuting yourselves this evening. Assistance will be provided with this if required. In which case, if you receive a request on your screen for your microphone to be unmuted, please will you give permission for this to be done, please. I'll be taking chat or input from members this evening through the chat function. So if you'd like to speak or raise a point to council, please can you indicate this through the chat messaging function. I'll keep monitoring that and I will invite you in turn to address the council. Thank you. I hope that's all clear, relatively straightforward. So I will now move on to council business. That brings us to item 1 on the agenda. It is my intention this evening to receive any declarations of interest during the roll call to record attendance. Councillors, as in the normal way, guidance about how to declare an interest is set out on page 3 of the agenda. Your name will be called in alphabetical order. When your name is called, please can you acknowledge your presence, either here or present or something similar will do, and declare any declarations of interest that you may have in accordance with item 1 on the agenda. I'll now ask our committee officer to proceed to the roll call, please.
Thank you, Chairman. So if again you could just confirm your attendance and if you have any declarations of interest. Councillor Adams.
Here, no declarations of interest.
Thank you. Councillor Beadle. You need to unmute Councillor Beadle.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, I'm here and I am also a director of a company who is in receipt of government grants operated by the council. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Brennan.
Present and no declarations of interest.
Thank you. Councillor Britcher.
Present and no declarations of interest.
Thank you. Councillor Bullman.
Present, no declarations of interest.
Councillor Catchpole.
Present and a non-pecuniary interest in the Bure Valley Railway, which is in Aylsham Ward.
Thank you. Councillor Clancy.
Present and no declarations of interest.
Thank you. Councillor Cook, I believe, is not with us. Councillor Copplestone.
Present, I have received the business support grant for under tourism, and the BVR passes through my ward of Coltershall. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Crotch.
Present and no declarations of interest.
Thank you. Councillor Emsall.
Here, nothing to declare.
Thank you. Councillor Fisher.
Here, nothing to declare. Thank you.
Councillor Folger is not here. Councillor Grattan.
Here, and I have received a business support grant under the COVID scheme.
Thank you. Councillor Gurney.
I'm here and I have nothing to declare other than those already listed in the members' official declaration document. Thank you.
Councillor Hartley.
Present, no declarations of interest.
Councillor Harrison. Councillor Harrison, can you confirm your attendance and if you have any declarations of interest? I'm unable to hear you.
Councillor Harrison is unmuted, so I'm not sure, Dawn, why we can't hear Councillor Harrison.
We can certainly see he's here. Councillor Harrison, can you? Present and same as Sue Catchpole. So I think we have the same declaration as Sue Catchpole. Thank you, Mr. Harrison. Councillor Hempsall.
Yes, here and interest under item 3, para 4 as Director of Broadland Growth Limited, non-pecuniary. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Holland.
Present and no declarations.
Councillor Karimi Guvenliu.
Present and no declarations of interest.
Councillor Kelly.
Present and no declarations of interest.
Councillor King.
Present with no declarations of interest.
Councillor Lawrence.
Present, and BVR runs through my ward.
Thank you. Councillor Leggett.
Present and no declarations of interest.
Councillor Leggett's not here, is right. Miss Councillor Mancini Boyle.
Present, no declarations.
Councillor Moncur.
Present, and my business has received also the COVID grant.
Councillor Murrell. Seen Councillor Murrell.
No, I haven't seen Councillor Murrell.
Seen him, no.
No.
Thank you. Councillor Neeson.
Present and no declarations.
Thank you. Councillor Nurden.
Present, no declarations.
Councillor Peck.
Present, no declaration.
Councillor Pratton.
Present and no declaration.
Councillor Riley.
Present, and the BVR runs through my ward in Aylsham.
Thank you. Councillor Roper.
Present, no declarations.
Councillor Ryman Tubb.
Present, and I have received a small business grant.
Thank you. Councillor Shaw.
Here, no declarations of interest.
Councillor Snowling. Haven't seen
Councillor Snowling, Dawn.
Councillor Starling.
Present and no declarations.
Councillor D. Thomas.
Present, no declarations.
Councillor J. Thomas.
Present, no declarations.
Councillor Karen Vincent.
Present and no declarations of interest.
Councillor Sean Vincent.
Present and no declarations on tonight's agenda.
Councillor Walker. I don't think I've seen Councillor Walker.
I don't think I have either, Dawn. No.
Councillor Ward.
Present, no declarations.
Thank you. And Councillor Wymark.
Present, declaration as the county councillor for the division that Bure Valley Railway runs through. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes that, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Dawn, for that. Right, do we have any apologies for absence this evening, please?
Yes, Chairman, I have received apologies from Councillor Cook, Councillor Lawn and Councillor Mackie. And sorry, and Councillor Folger.
Thank you. Thank you. Right, that now takes us to the substantive item on our agenda this evening, item 3, to review the 2021 budgets. And this is to consider the recommendations from Cabinet on the 16th of June, as I said, at the opening of this meeting. Just to make it clear that these recommendations are part of a package of items that Cabinet considered on the 16th of June. What we're dealing with this evening are the recommendations of those items. The other matters which were resolved by Cabinet are set out in the Cabinet decision list of the 16th of June. So hopefully that's clear to everybody. I will now invite the Finance Portfolio Holder, Councillor Mancini-Ball, to present the Cabinet recommendations to Council. Councillor Mancini-Ball.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I was just proposing to go through the recommendations this evening and not the resolved matters. So I think most of us have seen these papers now a few times. Obviously, they've been to ONS, they've been to Cabinet, and now there are 5 recommendations before you this evening. So the first one is in section 2, paragraph 2.2, and it's the proposed changes to the 2021 income budgets as set out in the table. These are obviously guesstimates. We don't know the reality. I have to thank Rodney for such a thorough report and for giving his best guesstimates to us. We have to do something, so this is a starting point really to get a new medium-term financial plan on the table going forward. But obviously, once we've got more facts, we can correct these. So the first recommendation is that one, as I've said, section 2, paragraph 2.2. The next one is in section 3, paragraph 3.3, and that is the changes to the additional costs really that the council has incurred, the expenditure following the emergency response to COVID-19. Again, tonight council is being asked to agree to the proposed changes to that. The third one is section 5, regarding the additional funding that could well be needed for hardship payments of council tax support. So that is in paragraph 5.10. Agreeing to this will allow officers to respond quickly to residents in times of hardship without having to come back to the council. The fourth on your list is in section 7, paragraph 7.9. We have this year now an estimated, and I repeat, estimated surplus of £62,000 as a result of the government funding to us to cope with COVID-19. This estimated surplus we are asking to be retained as a contingency for any additional spending pressures that may come along. And then the final recommendation for this evening is section 9, paragraph 9.4. And they're everything that the council feels it can do at the moment to try and make some in-year savings to cope with the pressures upon us. They are the 5 matters before you this evening, and I recommend to council in paragraph 1 on page 5, the 5 recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mancini-Ball. I understand you're proposing the recommendation. Do you have a seconder? I've just seen in the chat, Councillor Sean Vincent has seconded the recommendation and is reserving the right to speak. So thank you very much for that. That now means I will open up to question and debate. And I see the first one to come up is Councillor Dan Roper. Would you like to put your question to council, please?
Thank you. I've got a question and then a possible follow-up. So if Judy could answer, then I'll do a possible follow-up question. It's about the medium-term financial plan as set out on page 14 of the report. And this contains savings going forwards linked to collaboration with South Norfolk, 405,000 for the next 2 years and £68,000. Now, we've always said that the collaboration project is not finance driven. It is about service delivery. And I'm just looking for some assurance that given the current pressures on the medium-term financial plan, that we won't be looking to further stretch collaboration in order to try and bring out extra savings. I might have a follow-up.
Thank you, Councillor Roper. I'll invite Councillor Trudy Mancini-Ball to reply.
You're quite correct, Councillor Roper. The ambition was not there purely for savings, and that will not be driven any faster or harder than we have previously said. That is not the primary driver at all of the collaboration and remains the same.
Thank you, Councillor. I'm very, very grateful for that response. And one of the reasons which drives my question is that I took a look at the South Norfolk Council papers for their meeting on the 15th of June. There being our parallel council, I'm wondering how they're going about things. And on page 41 of those papers, it talks about further collaboration options. Paragraph 10.8, further savings could be obtained if the council, number 1, progressed with full merger. Number 2, request a boundary review, reducing the number of wards and the number of councillors. Number 3, looks to further expand the partnership away from the two-way shared service. It's rather disturbing that our partner council is considering these sorts of items on its council agenda. And
Councillor Roper, sorry. Is this your supplementary question? That's quite a long one.
This is my supplementary.
Okay.
Channeling my inner Margaret Thatcher when she was in the House of Commons. No, no, no to these 3 items set out as far as Broadland is concerned. Does she agree, here's the question, that this is not what we signed up for? And would she agree further to feed back to South Norfolk Council that we'd really rather not them be discussing merger or bringing forward the collaboration in this way, and that is not the Broadland way that we want to do things? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Roper. I have Councillor Mancini-Ball very keen to answer your question.
Oh, yes. I will definitely channel my inner Margaret Thatcher. And no, no, no is why it's not on our papers, because we said we wouldn't have it on our papers. And rest assured, we have spoken to our counterparts. We're 2 autonomous councils. They're fully entitled to put that in their papers. We would not have that in our papers.
Thank you for clarifying that point for us, Councillor Mancini-Boyle. I have Councillor Steve Riley would like to make a point. Councillor Steve Riley.
Thank you, Chair. It was actually just in relation to Trudy's inner Margaret Thatcher and no, no, no. I'd like to say congratulations, yes, 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 on confirming that we wouldn't have it on our papers. Having been involved since 2017 in relation to the feasibility report with the previous leader, it was always said, we're sovereign councils. It's not about merger and it's not about one building. And therefore, I'm really pleased with what Trudy's given today. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Trudy.
Thank you, Councillor Riley. There's no other questions in the chat? Does anyone else want to speak at this point? If so, perhaps you could let me know through the chat function.
I think Councillor Hempsell had a question.
I invite Councillor Hempsell to speak. Have you got a question for Council?
I do. Sorry, Chairman. I raised my hand through the participant side of things, obviously not paying attention to instructions. I just wanted to thank Rodney for preparing this paper and to Trudy for bringing this forward to members in a really open and transparent way. It gives us incredible clarity on where we stand. where the money's coming from, where we're going to have to take it from if necessary, and where it's going. And all I can do is commend both of them for all the hard work that's gone into this, and the whole team really, because we continue to be confident in our financial position. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Hemsel. I have a question from Councillor Karimi Govrilnu.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to reiterate my question from the last meeting about the capita issue we had with the council tax support payments. Has that been resolved yet?
Thank you for your question. Councillor Trudy Mancini-Boyle, would you like to respond to that point?
Yes, thank you again, Madam Chairman. Yes, this is the bane of my life at the moment as well. The latest update was that it was ready to start this first week in July. It's now going to test in the second week of July, ready to start the payments. But I would repeat that no resident has in any way been disadvantaged. So we've done everything we can. The biggest problem has been the officer time to make sure residents, quite rightly, are not affected. But that's my latest update again as of today from the MD. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for clarifying that for us, Councillor Mancini-Boyle. Are you happy with that response?
Yes, I'm happy with that response. I just wondered if Councillor Mancini-Boyle could keep us updated on that issue, please.
Of course.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any other questions? No? Okay, I'll take silence as a no. Councillor Sean Vincent, you wanted to reserve the right. Would you like to speak at this point?
Thank you, Chairman. Yes. Just picking up on some of the things that have been said tonight, I would also like to reiterate the Margaret Thatcher within myself by saying no, 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 just to get that one out there as well. Moving on to more serious matters, though, with what we're dealing with tonight, I fully support the 5 recommendations before us, hence me seconding them. And I would also like to reiterate the words that have been used in the support and the hard work that both the portfolio holder for finance and Rodney and his team in maintaining the financial control for Broadland and keeping Broadland on the straight and narrow through what are unbelievably difficult times. So well done to both of you and your teams. That's all I've got to say. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Vincent. At this point, I'll go back to Councillor Mancini-Boyle if she'd like to sum up.
No, I'm happy. If everybody's happy, that will be great.
I've just seen a late question come in from Councillor Beadle. It's a question on paragraph 5.24.
Thank you, Chair. I'm in a bit of a struggle with some of this IT, but we've got there. 524, it says members are asked to consider whether the council should make a bid to the SIL Infrastructure Fund to further invest in Broadland. Can I say I think we should do this? Broadband is very poor in some parts of our district, as the report shows, and the sooner we get it better for the residents of the district, both residents, students and school children, as well as businesses. And could I actually urge that this is actually not just considered, but that we do action it? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Beadle. I'll invite the leader, as he chaired Cabinet, to respond to that point.
Thank you, Chairman. Again, I'd just like to point the councillor at the Cabinet decision list, which listed out what the next stages were with broadband. And this is an agenda item on the Economic Success Panel on the 22nd of July. My understanding is that Karen O'Kane is being invited to that meeting to present where they are with better broadband for Norfolk. And from there, we will then be in a position to know where, what, how actions that we can then take. So I'd like to reassure the councillor that not only has this been taken forward, but it's been taken forward in a very serious way. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I also noticed that Councillor Mancini-Ball had her hand up. As you were summing up, did you want to say anything further?
No, I was just going to repeat exactly what Councillor Vincent said.
Okay, thank you for that. Right, so we've had a proposer, we've had a seconder, we've debated the 5 recommendations. I intend to take those en bloc, unless I hear from members that they're unhappy with that. No, I think people were generally okay. So unless I hear anything, I will now proceed to the vote and invite the committee officer to call the roll call, please.
Thank you, Chairman. So if I just call members' names in alphabetical order, if you confirm if you are for or against the 5 recommendations before you. Councillor Adams.
For.
Councillor Beadle.
For.
Councillor Brennan.
For.
Councillor Britcher.
For.
Councillor Bullman.
For.
Councillor Catchpole. Councillor Catchpole, can you...
For.
Thank you. Councillor Clancy.
For.
Councillor Copplestone.
For.
Councillor Crotch.
For.
Councillor Emsall.
For.
Councillor Fisher.
For.
Councillor Grattan.
For.
Councillor Gurney.
For.
Thank you. Councillor Hartley.
For.
Councillor Harrison.
That's a 4. You did.
Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Hempsall.
For.
Councillor Holland.
For.
Councillor Karimi Guvenliu.
For.
Councillor Kelly.
For.
Councillor King.
For.
Councillor Lawrence.
For.
Councillor Judy Leggett.
For.
Councillor Ken Leggett. I think that's a 4. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Leggett. That's a 4.
Thank
yes?
you. Sorry.
That's okay.
Oh, where's it gone? Oh,
Just click your unmute button.
all right. Thank you. Where's the thing?
Okay. Councillor Mancini-Boyle.
Unmute. Yes.
Councillor Moncur.
For.
Councillor Murrell. Not here. Councillor Neeson.
For.
Councillor Nurden.
For.
Councillor Peck.
For.
Councillor Prutton.
For.
Councillor Riley.
For.
Councillor Roper.
For.
Councillor Ryman Tubb.
For.
Councillor Shaw.
For.
Councillor Starling.
For.
Councillor D. Thomas.
For.
Councillor J. Thomas.
For.
Councillor K. Vincent.
For.
Councillor S. Vincent.
For.
Councillor S. Walker. Councillor Walker's not here, sorry. And Councillor Wymark.
For.
Sorry, Mr. Ward, did I call your name out, Mr. Ward?
No, 4.
Yeah.
4.
Thank you, sir. So it was Mr. Walker who wasn't here. Chairman, that is unanimous, so that's carried.
Thank you very much. As we heard, that's carried. That's a unanimous vote. Thank you, councillors, for your participation this evening. It's a very short and sweet meeting this evening. This now concludes the business of council. Thank you for your attendance and your contributions, and I close the meeting at 7:29. Good night, take care of yourself and hope to see you soon.